How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie, here with my guy, Mr. Idris Salam, a.k.a. Bosco from the Bronx. And a very happy Victory Monday.
Big Blue Monday.
Yeah, we waited a bit. You know, it's only been a month.
Yeah, it's not bad. A lot of firsts today. First touchdown the first half out of offense at home on National Tight End Day. First touchdown by the tight end.
Yeah.
Hey, we went 98 games without blocking a kick. Leonard Williams got one, big cat.
Yeah, that was big. That was big.
A lot of good things happened yesterday. We got a lot more to work on, though.
Definitely a lot more to work on. Schedule's getting a little more tolerable.
Yeah.
So I do believe that, it's not inconceivable that the Giants could possibly push up to 500. This is a team that I said it on my Facebook yesterday. They should be 3-4. Unfortunately, they're 2-5. But, wins are not easy to come by in this league, and you get them in any fashion you could. And the reason why I would reiterate not to count out the Giants or anybody that's off to a slow start in the NFC is because the NFC is very top heavy.
Yeah.
Big time stuff going on in the world of Major League Baseball. We've got the NL and ALCS games today. We're going to hit on that. Texas Rangers forcing a Game 7.
Yes, sir.
Got to shout out my man, Sergio Rodriguez. I told him yesterday, or not yesterday, but I told him earlier in the week on his podcast.
Yeah.
He was kind of leaning towards telling the viewers to take Miami. I said Eagles by 14.
Yeah.
I didn't have the final, but I did have them by 14.
Yeah, I think I had them by 10. I can't remember. But yeah.
Not surprised. Until Miami starts beating elite teams, I'm not buying them completely yet. And Buffalo catches a break because of their defensive breakdowns in New England. We're going to hit on all this, but we're starting it up in the baseball world.
Yes, sir.
Houston, you have a problem. Texas Rangers forced winner-take-all Game 7 for rights to go to the Fall Classic. Former Red Sox Ray and Yankee Nathan Eovaldi, 6.1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks allowed. Adolis Garcia, 1 for 5 with a grand slam, 4 ribs. That was really the statement punch.
Mm-hmm.
It's really odd. Houston is a phenomenal road team.
Yeah.
But they are bad at home.
Yes.
And this has got every bit written on it, similar to the 2019 World Series when the Washington Nationals beat the Astros with no home team recording a win. The Astros have a chance to change that tonight. Slightly after 8 o'clock Eastern time, that's going to be going on. The NL will be decided or will be going to Game 7 by the time the American League gets on the field. Going in, I picked the Rangers to win in 7.
Me too.
It's lining up. It's lining up that way. You're going to see all the stops, like literally all the managerial stops being pulled.
Yeah.
You're going to see situations where you could see starters coming out of the pen because this is a, win or go home situation. And, it's a chess match for sure because when I think about the benches clearing brawl that went down in Game 5, Dusty Baker, a lot of people are pissed off about what happened, but, that's gamesmanship in many a metric. And I do believe that the Texas Rangers let their emotions get the best of them. But, there were repercussions.
Yeah.
Abreu got disciplined.
The 2 games.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see how this goes. But I'm going to reserve my prediction towards the end of the show for both series. We both are. We got the Phillies looking to punch their ticket to the World Series. Aaron Nola, who's been really amazing during these playoffs, is on the bump tonight. Diamondbacks will be marching out Merrill Kelly, guy who I had during the fantasy season with our guy John Olsen. It's hard to not assume that Philly wins this series, even if they don't win tonight, because both games are at home, and they have been the opposite of what the Astros have been. They've been very tough to deal with in Citizens Bank Ballpark, and I must admit, I like the Phillies. It looks like logic would tell you that they're going to win their second consecutive pennant.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to hit on our predictions towards the latter part of the show, and we're going to move it into a very eventful day in football, as Idris already alluded to, National Tight End Day. The Kelly Swift show in full effect yet again. Kansas City Chiefs defeat the Chargers. First question to the viewers as well as you, Idris. Is it time for Brandon Staley to be relieved of his coaching duties? And afterwards, we'll hit on a little more lighthearted fare with Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift with that weird-ass dap. It's like, the NFL knows that we're tired of looking at them, so they're going to just keep pushing it in our face. But as the football goes,
well,
Travis Kelce, just a blow-up game.
Yeah, or he had a monumental game. Brandon Staley, this guy has to go, man. Something's not right. Every game they play is close. It's come down to the last possession. Although yesterday they still needed 2 scores, but still it's always we got to catch up. We have to catch up. We have to catch up. We have to catch up. But I think me and you spoke about it yesterday. Texting that Herbert has kind of regressed. He doesn't seem like I've always said I think he's a good quarterback, but I think he's a slight bit overrated. I think he's a slight bit overrated, and I've always felt that way with Oregon quarterbacks. It's going to take a lot to really get him straight. I think Kellen Moore can do it because his offense fits Kellen Moore, but his decision making is like back-to-back weeks you threw a game and an interception.
It's hard at this juncture not to believe that Kellen Moore would be the right choice because they didn't bring him in without that as a backup plan. And I've said it on previous shows, similar to what's going on in Dallas. Dan Quinn could potentially be the man in waiting, as well as what's going on in Washington with Eric Bieniemy being brought in as damn near the heir apparent to what Riverboat Ron does for them. But when I look at this Chargers team, I see a lot of talent all over the field, but I see a lot of underachievement. I see guys that just aren't interested, and that's a direct reflection of the coaching staff. Right
on. And see, that's the thing. Eckler doesn't look right. While Evans is gone, Keenan Allen. I mean, they don't look like a team in sync. I mean, if you look at when Rivers were there and he had LaDainian, he had the whole. They looked like they wanted to play. They just couldn't get over the hump. But
they were a well-oiled machine on offense.
They just couldn't win when they had to win, which is in the playoffs. With this team, it's like they're just playing to compete, but it's like you guys are not really. I'm not saying they're not putting in the effort. Just on the field, it's like they're just not in sync.
There's a weird disconnect, and discipline is a big thing too, because I know that you made it clear that you didn't agree with us, but in our AFC West preview, the majority of our panel thought that this was the year that the Chargers were going to make the jump or else.
Yeah. And
right now we're getting or else because there's really no logical reasoning why this team shouldn't be much better. And to piggyback you off of the Justin Herbert thing, Zappy was in a group chat with us yesterday bringing up the fact that who would you rather have, Danny Dimes or Justin Herbert? And you made a good point. You said Danny Dimes for one simple reason. He was not touted as an elite quarterback coming out of college.
Right.
Whereas Herbert, in the grander scheme of things, I get it. He got Rookie of the Year. It was a year where Joe Burrow only played half the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's safe to say that Joe Burrow has more than jumped him.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's a little bit of stuff between the ears too, because when I look at some of the mistakes that Herbert's making, they're unforced things that he could clean up.
Yeah.
But again, I continue to allude to Brandon Staley. I really believe that these guys do not care for their head coach.
I don't think they do. They're not playing like they do. They're not playing like it.
And as the Chiefs go, they are not the explosive entity that they were for so many years with the Tyreek Hill version of them. Last year they had Juju. But what they're doing this year, Travis Kelce's always going to get his. He's the best in the world at what he does. But they are playing better defense. They're running the ball more effectively. And the Chiefs know how to beat you in a lot of ways. They could put up points on the board, but they could also shorten the game when they have to.
Yeah. That's a good thing about them. Because, previous years, it's throw. Let's put points up, and they had to win shootouts. Now that they have a defense, they don't have to work as hard. They still do what they do, but the defense takes a big load off of them. They're not fighting to come back in wins. They're not having shootouts.
Yes.
It's like, let's do what we got to do and let's pound the ball. Because Pacheco's balling out. I mean.
And I, at the end of the day, and I said it on a show not too long ago when we were with Brett, in January, going into the ultimate goal, which is playing in the big game in February, defense and running the ball still wins. It doesn't matter what era of the league we're in. That will always hold true. And the Chiefs, in addition to having the most talented quarterback in the world, have that. And, when I think about Andy Reid always being super adaptable.
Yeah.
And when I think about a defensive coordinator who demands the most out of his guys and gets good results in our guys, Steve Spagnuolo helped us win a Super Bowl. Yeah, the Chiefs, while, like I said, they're not the most flashy. If you're looking for flash, go to South Florida.
Yeah.
Buffalo, they have weapons. They have a very exciting quarterback, but they're not balanced right now. We saw that in the Giant game. We saw it yesterday against the Pats. Right now, the Chiefs and the 49ers, in my opinion, they'll be playing tonight. They are the teams that we should be considering in this early going as we approach the midway point in a few weeks as the elite right now.
Yeah, they're both balanced teams. Both balanced teams. And, you know who the star is, but the star is making stars out of others,
Oh, no doubt. And while we talk about the elite, like it or not, you can't go too far away from our rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles, another team that very much has an opportunity to repeat as conference champions and make a second Super Bowl. A.J. Brown going off yesterday.
Yeah.
The brotherly shove, the tush push, whatever you want to reference it as, it is the most effective short yardage play in the NFL by far, and nobody does it better than this organization. I do want to reiterate, it feels a little good to be right about this game. After being told in a friendly way that I always pick the Giants every week, and I'm like, with all due respect, sir, you haven't been watching my show if that's what you think.
Exactly, because it's been
but
showed.
That's all right. He's a busy man, and he's got his own things, but did have to let that air out of the balloon a little there. But as the game goes, I wasn't surprised. No. I feel that the Miami Dolphins are definitely a team that once they get Ramsey back and everything on their defense starts working, they're going to get where they need to be, potentially to an AFC title game. They are definitely in the mix. But I don't think that they have that physical and mental toughness just yet to step to teams that do that, like the Phillies, like the Kansas Cities, like the 49ers. Because it reminded me a little bit of the game that they played against the Niners when it was touted as, Miami's going to be there push for push, stretch for stretch, but they could not. And, you got to give Philly credit. Philly is not reinventing the wheel. They are doing what works. They're running the ball at a very good rate. And my God, did Eli Apple get cooked yesterday.
How do we not know that was eventually going to happen?
It's like he brings it upon himself. He's always got a yap. And Devontae Smith was having some fun with him on X.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Philly is doing old school football, man. 40s, 50s, 60s football. It's in your face. I mean, even passing game, the brotherly shove, they're using old school Philly football. The days of Chuck Butler.
Yeah, if you go back to different junctures of their own franchise history. But at the end of the day, when you have an O-line like they have,
a healthy one,
They are aging, but right now they're playing at a high level. And behind, in my opinion, not any debate, the best center in professional football, Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the best wide
Honestly,
receivers coach in the NFL, Mr. Aaron Moorhead.
probably got the best set of wide receivers.
Yeah, that helps too. And you add a Hall of Fame talent in Julio Jones, who once he gets his feet wet, he's going to be a contributor there. And I must admit, as much as it pains me to say this, Philly has done a phenomenal job of filtering in talent and consistently being relevant. Howie Roseman has done some great things for that organization, and there's literally no reason to believe that, barring some mass injuries to one of the two teams, that the 49ers and Eagles should be in the same place next year. Next year meaning January, but this year meaning, the end of the season.
The flop by Jalen Carter. It's what he said on X. Said, I think he said something to the effect, "I got it from LeBron" or something like that.
Shades of LeBron, and to take it back further, shades of Vlade Divac. You can tell NBA's around the corner. I'm dropping the basketball references.
He got a flag too. I mean, he got the flag from the. He won the flag, shall I say? And that was a hell of a. Shout out to Andrea Diamond, one of my friends and big Philly fan, trying to get her on the show. She said she might come on. She mentioned about the brotherly shove, and she made a point. She said, when you have a quarterback who deadlifts 600 pounds, those legs have a lot of power. Then you got 300-pound guys shoving you from the back.
Oh yeah,
it's hard to stop it, man.
And a side story, which was a build-up for last night's primetime game, was Tua Tagovailoa, as well as former Alabama teammate Jalen Hurts. He took his position during the national title game a few years back, before they both became pros. And Hurts, very humble, very mature on his part, said, "It made me who I am today." They did try to see if they can kind of pick something up as to why they didn't meet before the game. And Hurts says, "I don't talk to opposing quarterbacks before games. I'm not going to start tonight."
Yeah.
But Hurts, without it being overplayed, it meant a lot to him to beat Tua. There's a great deal of respect with both those young guys, but it meant a lot for Hurts to win. Like I said, I'm not surprised they did win. And, Philly right now, like I said, barring injuries, they are more than headed in the right direction.
I think there's more to the Hurts talking about. I've beat up his name Tua thing. Reason I'm saying because during the interview when he was asked, "So what did you and Tua talk about?" She was like, he basically sidestepped it. It said we had a good game. Our defense played well, And I said, there's something else, because he never addressed it, even though she asked him straight up.
It seemed a little weird because even Collinsworth, who's forever cheesy, is always trying to put a little extra sugar and salt and sweetener on it. And he's like, "Oh, it's great that these two still have a relationship." And I'm like, bro, calm down, can call the damn game.
Yeah, I think there's still some bitterness there.
There might be. I mean, it could be a competitive bitterness because, sometimes that's the stuff that drives. I mean, you look at the great Michael Jordan, he always needed something to drive him.
And I'm glad that he doesn't speak up opposing. I mean, that's some sports no. Some people, that's how it is. You don't want to be friends with your opponent before
I don't have issue with that. I will go as far as saying that I recently saw a Ryan Fitzpatrick interview as to why he couldn't stand Tom Brady, because he said when Brady lost, he didn't want to shake hands. And I do think, and I take more issue with that after the battle's over than I do with any kumbaya bullshit before the game.
Right on. Exactly.
In East Rutherford, New Jersey, Giants pride displayed in legacy game as the New York Giants don their 80s and 90s threads. Defense shuts down the Commanders' offense. Were it not for a Sterling Shepard misplay, I actually think the Giants might have walked out there with a shutout. Another thing, too, Kayvon Thibodeau, I mean, if he catches that errant pass from Sam Howell, he could have walked in the end zone.
He could have walked in. I think he was so excited because he's ready to run. Because that was you won't get an easier interception than that one.
No.
It
But
was
in the words of my
it was like
late father,
it was like a short punt to him.
in
Like a
the,
huge punt.
in the words of my late father, there's a reason why these guys play defense.
Exactly.
But thankfully, that didn't come back to bite us. Shout out to the Giant crowd for not only bringing a great deal of energy, but I was truly humored at the way they were doing the Bronx cheer every time a punt was fielded correctly. Because were it not for and Shepard's a veteran, but to his defense, the bottom line is the Giants need to find a legitimate punt returner because Slayton, being what he means to the receiving corps, shouldn't be out there.
And Greg has fumbled. I don't know what's wrong with this guy's hands.
He's also dinged up. He left the game with an injury, as did Gary Brightwell. So now more than ever, it's imperative that running back Saquon Barkley stays healthy. And, you got the MetLife Bowl coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't quite have the same steam with the injury to Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. But it's personal.
Oh, yeah, it always is.
These two teams share the same facility. Oh. And, my sister, Nicole, is a big Jet fan. And I'm just going to keep it 100 right here. I don't care who the better team is right now. I want to kick their ass.
Bottom line, and getting back to the crowd cheering for every punt that was, caught. You got to love New York crowds, man.
Well, this is a fan base that doesn't tolerate stupidity and piss poor effort. And Sterling Shepard's a guy that has my utmost respect, but it was boneheaded. Yeah. Brian Robinson made us pay immediately. And the thing is, I look for the positives after every win, and I also look at the negatives because, there's no reason why we shouldn't have put them away early. But I will say this, Wink Martindale has really been calling some good games.
These last two games have been awesome.
I mean, dude, we've given up 21 points over the last 2 weeks. Do the math. That's pretty damn good. We're giving up around, what is that, like right around 11 a game?
Yeah.
That's a recipe for winning, even if your offense is a trash can. And as far as Tyrod Taylor goes, I'm not going to tout him as if he's Fran Tarkenton or Eli Manning or, name your favorite Giant quarterback. But what I will say is he's giving this team some competence. Mm-hmm. And what I applaud about Tyrod, he's playing within himself, but he's also playing with an understanding of how to move behind that makeshift O-line.
Yeah. Whereas
Jonesy, I'm sorry, he stayed in a little too long. And, when you start getting cracked as frequently as Jones has, mm-hmm. your progressions go to shit. Mm-hmm. Tyrod is looking at it like this could potentially be my final opportunity because he's had the unfortunate luck of always being the quarterback that was holding down something for the next hot star, whether it was Justin Herbert, whether it was Josh Allen. He's been around. Baker Mayfield as well. He's been around, but it's nice to see Tyrod thriving in this position. And I also want to make a mention that I think the New York Giants are downplaying this Jones next situation.
I think so too. With Tyrod, as he's actually called, I like his. If you look at him and Jones in the background in the backfield, Jones runs more to where Tyrod is more. He's looking downfield, like, okay, let me see. But he has his eyes, his head is on a swivel. Like, you're not going to blindside me.
I think Jones runs too early.
He runs too early
because I do think that he's a little punch drunk.
Yeah, because Tyrod, he's looking downfield because he throws a lot of passes. He looks downfield, and see, he's always been an efficient quarterback. When he was under Joe Flacco, he's efficient. He went in Buffalo, he's efficient. In San Diego, with the Chargers, with the
he's always ready. And the God's honest truth is, I've seen him for 8 quarters, mm-hmm. and there's no denying that the offense is in better hands with Taylor right now. It's really smart. Not debatable.
He's smart. He's no, don't make a mistake. And also he's playing for a contract because this is his contract year.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You got to keep him.
Financially, the Giants have to keep Jones on the roster at least for next year before they part ways, and that's assuming that that's how it plays. The NFL is a weird place. You don't always know how things are going to play out.
Right.
But right now, Taylor is playing at a level that definitely is competent enough to be an every week starter, and I think the Giants would be crazy to pull him out of that situation right now because at the end of the day, the team is responding to him.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect. The offensive line got off to a good start. As the game wore on, they were getting tired.
Yeah.
As was the defense.
Yeah. And it's a different quarterback. Different cadence, different style of play. I just wish he would get down because he likes to dive like Terod. You're small, man. You're like Michael Vick. You're a small guy. But I like him. I like because, like I said, I've always been a fan of him. Going back to Virginia Tech, and I've always followed him. Every team he went to, I was like, man, I hope this guy does good.
Yeah, he's always a guy that I've had a good admiration for because at the end of the day, he's a pro's pro.
Yeah.
And I think right now, more than anything, the Giants need that in their huddle. You don't want a leader who might be petrified. And I'm not saying that Jones is weak, and I'm not saying that Jones is some kind of poon. I'm just saying that when you're constantly under duress and constantly getting beat up in the pocket, it is tough to do what you're supposed to do, read your progressions, and be able to make the plays that you're expected to make. And it reminds me eerily of what happened to Andrew Luck and what happened to David Carr.
Yeah, same with the kid in the kid at San Francisco came from USC.
Trey Lance.
No, not Trey. Quarterback now, backup. Oh my God, he just left. He came from Carolina. The Jets had him. Jets drafted him.
Oh, you're talking about Sam Darnold.
Darnold, yeah. That one game where he got hit, and after that he said he was seeing ghosts, and he was never the same quarterback. I forgot what team he played, but a couple of
well,
years
I know he with the Jets and under that regime with Adam Gase.
Yeah, he said he was seeing ghosts. He actually said it, and he was never the same quarterback.
It's tough, and no matter what skill level of the quarterback, if that's happening, it's a real thing because we saw what happened to Tom Brady in Super Bowl 42, as well as Mahomes years later against Brady's Bucks. So we've seen this happen to no matter what caliber of quarterback.
Yeah, you got to play Taylor. If we're winning, the team is responding. You got to keep him in the game until he just implodes. But if he's getting it done, you got to go with the winner.
No question about that. And speaking of winning, a team that's done a lot of it over the last 2.5 decades, but not much this year. Brett's New England Patriots win in dramatic fashion in shocking upset over the Buffalo Bills.
I told y'all.
Are the Bills pretenders? Is this loss cause for concern? And the embattled Mac Jones hits Mike Gesicki. We have a Mike Gesicki sighting on tight end day.
Tight end day.
In the end zone in the final seconds to secure the 29-25 win. I'll say this right now. I give the Bills credit for fighting back. In the long run, I do think they'll be okay. But the thing is, they got to stop getting off to these slow starts. They were 10 in the hole before they even got their bearings.
And it's slow starts against teams they should be beaten up.
Correct, because the New York Giants, I'm not going to say that Wink put down the blueprint, but he definitely has given teams a few more ideas on how to attack MVP caliber candidate Josh Allen. I will say that much. And you got to give credit where it's due. The Patriots outcoached the Bills yesterday in addition to outplaying them. And, Bill Belichick finally joining the 300-win club.
Finally. Very
historic. And after Brett's little rant, it looks like, somebody hurt him.
Yeah. I think I picked them to beat them. But I remember Brett. No, Brett's the only one who picked them.
Well, he actually picked them to lose, but he picked them to compete.
It must be me that picked them to win then. I know I had an upset on there. I think that was it. But we got to check the tape. Anyway, that was a hell of. I watched that game.
You just pulled the Ben McAdoo. We're gonna look over the film. That was the Joe Judge. Just pulled the Joe Judge.
Joe Judge. I watched that game and Jones didn't play bad. He played well, real good.
No, he had a good game. He did.
When Buffalo scored, I was like, that's it.
I myself, and especially with the the nonstop post from Chanel where I thought that she was going to have a nervous breakdown.
Dude, that's every week.
Dealing with another Patriot loss, But, dude, I got to say, man.
Yeah.
Brett and I had a conversation off air saying how this is uncharted waters for us because, we're used to playing each other at Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. We're not used to going into week 7 both being 1-5.
Right.
At the same time. I mean, the Giants have had a little more hardships than the Patriots in recent memory. We did win those 2 bowls. Point to be made is it's a weird time. And then it's like, man, if both our quarterbacks are named Jones, this is kind of weird.
That's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, it is a little bit. Not exactly Eli and Tom. But for 1 week, the Patriots have something to build on. And, I think this is more a worry of what's up with Buffalo than, oh, damn, New England won a game. Yeah. Buffalo has to get back to the drawing board because they've lost 3 of their last 4.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, they, for pretty much over the course of the last 4 years, always have what many deem to be enough talent to win a Super Bowl, to go to a Super Bowl, but they keep messing around and kind of losing to middle of the road teams. And they are banged up too. Now, let's not make any mistakes.
Yeah.
The Giants and Patriots have both moved the ball against this team in consecutive weeks.
With Allen, and like I told a guy down in who was in Jacksonville, I said Josh Allen is Daniel Jones with a better team.
On some metrics, that is true. The only difference that I wouldn't co-sign that on is that although Josh Allen does still make some dopey mistakes,
mm-hmm.
I do believe that unlike Daniel Jones, Josh Allen has shown the ability to take over games and to make those around him better, where Jones just hasn't shown enough consistency.
I agree to a point. We wouldn't know what Jones would do if he had the type of caliber players that Allen has.
That is a valid point.
I think if Jones possibly had those talents like Diggs and everybody, even when he had Cole Beasley up there, he might have been that type of leader.
But I do think what's frustrating to me as a fan
mm-hmm.
is that with like an unheard of amount of injuries on the O-line,
mm-hmm.
I understand that it wasn't good for Jones, but at the same time, this is the same O-line that Tyrod's dealing with the exception of getting a veteran in there like a Justin Pugh.
That's sort of brain.
Anyone who watched the game yesterday,
mm-hmm.
the Giants O-line played a lot more respectable. They were losing certain one-on-one matchups because you can't expect a guy like Justin Pugh to play left tackle. It's unreasonable. We need Andrew Thomas to get back out there.
Mm-hmm.
And dare I say that we need the Lion to get back out there too.
Yeah.
Watch out for the trade deadline coming up.
Yeah.
While I don't know anything, but while I believe that they're going to retain Saquon Barkley
mm-hmm.
after the meeting that I was told that they had,
mm-hmm.
I would keep an eye out to see if potentially the Giants move on from veteran defensive star Leonard Williams.
I think it'll be Adoree.
Adoree could definitely be in the conversation, and I do want to make one last mention there. My God, how good is Deonte Banks right now?
He went from this to this.
That's right.
Because
Banks,
early on he was getting ripped, and now he's found his own.
He's doing his thing, and I'm proud of him, and I'm happy we drafted him because Porter was the popular pick. But let's not forget, guys,
mm-hmm.
in East Rutherford, New Jersey, banks are closed on Sunday.
Exactly.
Atlanta Falcons outlast the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in low-scoring road clash. Phenomenal rookie Bijan Robinson did get banged up in this. I did pick Tampa to win. I'm not overly surprised with the result. I still think at the end of the day, these are two mediocre teams playing in a mediocre division.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Desmond Ridder. I'm not sold on Baker Mayfield. But what I will say is I was pleased with Atlanta's resolve to win a game like this, where I think a couple of years ago, this isn't a game that Atlanta wins. Young-Ho Koo, one of the best kickers in the NFL, proven it. Walk-off field goal. And I don't necessarily think this meeting is going to determine who wins the division. But right now, because of this head-to-head matchup, Atlanta is in the driver's seat in the NFC South.
So I don't mean to laugh. But his name was Young Wei, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's Young Wei.
Where's the W? It doesn't matter.
I had no when you say young.
I just
ho,
said young ho. Who? I'm like, man, I'm about to get my ass canceled over here.
I was trying not to laugh, man.
My apologies. I just found out his name when I was this many minutes old.
But that's what Atlanta fans call him young ho. So don't worry about it.
Moving it along. The Indianapolis Colts feel the wrath of bad refs. They took a break on the Giants this week.
Yeah.
Listen, this was probably the best game of the day. And I think it's egregious that these referees screwed the Colts the way they did. Number one, that wasn't a defensive PI. And number two, where did Kareem Hunt cross the goal line? Did I miss something? What was in the end zone? It wasn't the football.
My thing was the DPI.
That was BS, bro. That was bad.
I was like, but the second one, the ball is uncatchable.
Oh,
the ball's uncatchable. I mean, come on. Even if he didn't touch him, like he's like what's his name said, even Megatron couldn't have caught that ball.
I remember literally saying to myself, you couldn't catch that unless you had a fire ladder.
Exactly.
That was bad, but like. I mean, I'm happy to a level that the refs left us alone this week. If anything, the guy who really has a gripe this week is Ron Rivera.
Oh, he let it be known.
Oh, he's definitely.
It's 2 years in a row.
But I got to admit this: in the waning moments of that Giants game, when one of their dudes was kind of milking an injury and it blew up in their face,
I knew that's what he was doing.
And I looked at him. I was like, this dude must have saw a film of Week 2, 2011 when we pulled that shit against the Rams.
And that was obvious.
Yeah, that was bad. Guys were like just dropping in the middle of the field. It looked like they were hitting landmines. So I was like, what are they doing, bro?
Just picking them out the stairs. Pop, pop, pop. We had about 4 guys
getting hit with MetLife BB guns or something. But seriously, man, these refs just got to get better. That is my point of this.
Bad, dude.
It's unfortunate because they ruined a really good football game. I think the Colts should have won. Steelers flying high in SoFi. Just another reminder of how good TJ Watt is and how prepared Mike Tomlin gets his team, because this was not a pretty win by any means. They were grasping at straws to truly get the offense moving. But when you have a defense like that, they were applying pressure to Matt Stafford all day. And, the Rams are hurting in the running back room right now. Yeah. But I think the Rams are starting to look a little more like the people we thought they were. Yeah. And I think the Steelers are still a work in progress, but when you have Mike Tomlin in the driver's seat of your franchise, you always have a chance to win, and that defense is no joke.
This is why this is a franchise that's only had 3 coaches since the Super Bowl era. They know.
Yeah, dude. But Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. They've all had Super Bowls too. It's crazy. He knows how to get this team up, get them ready. No matter what personnel he has, he gets them ready. They're ready to go. It's crazy. It's an ugly game, and the Rams are who we thought they were. Watch out for the Steelers, man. If they start gelling on offense, they're gonna be a problem, man. Because that defense is crazy.
It was nice to see Najee Harris looking a little better, hitting the holes, because he has been kind of stymied since last year when he first had that Liz Frank thing. But it's good to see him moving around, looking a little healthier. Steelers, I've just gotten to the point where no matter what I think, they're always going to find a way to probably have a winning season. It's a credit to the coach. Mike Tomlin, future Hall of Famer, no question asked.
Oh, yeah.
In the NFC North, I kind of bundled this together. The Packers lose again. The Lions get mauled in Maryland. And Bears cooking up a quarterback change. Tyson, let me see if I can get this guy's name right. Tyson Bagent? Looks like Bagent, of course. Looks like every bit of – no, I do not. Baguette?
Bagent 17.
Secret Bagent 17? I like that. Listen, Justin Fields and Daniel Jones probably feel like the 2 most loneliest mofos after Sunday.
You know why? If you look at Brock Purdy, the last man in the draft, this guy, Bagent, came from Shepherd College, never heard of it, in West Virginia, undrafted. Comes in there looks like he knows the offense.
Now, before everybody gets ahead of themselves, he did beat the Raiders.
He did beat the Raiders.
And I'm going to say this right now. Going into the game, the Raiders might be literally the worst 3-3 team I've ever seen. Yeah. And after the game, they might be the worst 3-4 team I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Shout out Uncle Randy. Shout out Charlie Hoppy.
Shout out Peggy Holmes. Yeah, I think at least he got a good start with going against a bad team.
I was so mad that I took the Raiders yesterday. It didn't cost me in my pick'em pool because that comes down to tonight. But damn, bro,
I'm not sure if I picked them or not.
I should have known better that the Raiders couldn't win a game they needed to. But Green Bay, it's to be expected. Right now, they are going through legitimate growing pains. You know, they are in transition. And when you move on from a 4-time MVP, you know, you're going to have a lot of good and bad mixed together. I think the biggest shock of yesterday, though, outside of the Patriots beating the Bills, undeniably, the Detroit Lions. I did have them losing, but I certainly didn't have them getting mauled like that. I mean, Lamar Jackson was everything you needed to be yesterday.
I watched that game too. That game was over at the end of the first quarter.
No, they blew their doors off, and now we're going to see what kind of mental makeup this Lions team has and see if they're going to respond the right way.
And you got to ask yourself about Baltimore. What team are you going to get?
You really don't know because this is the same team that lost to the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, it's like
this is a team that lost a low-scoring battle to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then they go and blow up the best team in the North. So it's definitely hard to project. You know, OBJ, not a big game on the stat sheet, but did the little things that helped his other receivers shine.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to think about Baltimore, man. I still see them as a favorite winning the division, but I don't know what to think about them.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta kind of sit and watch and just see how it plays. I do have to give a shout out to a few players here. On National Tight End Day, Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, Dallas Goedert, and Mark Andrews really all balled out. Listen to this stat line: 29 catches, 417 yards, and 5 pay dirt hits, 5 touchdowns. That is impressive.
They balled out, man.
And in our league, Cheddar in the Sun, I'm playing Dorney. He's got just under a 30-point lead on me, and I'm playing the Niners defense. I got them going tonight along with George Kittle. And if week 7 has been any indication of what the tight ends are going to do, I'm holding out hope still that Kittle might have a blow-up game, especially with the injuries to the 49ers offense right now.
I want to thank you for that trade for Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I want to thank you too, because I'm helping you solidify a second half playoff berth, and I'm getting myself back a second-round pick because, man, I was like throwing shade to the wind. I was like, yo, Zappy, I'll give you a first. Yo, another trade. Yo, Zappy, I'll give you a second because we trade draft picks in our league.
Yeah.
And then I was like, damn, man, I might win a championship this year, but if I don't, I need some draft capital, even if I do. So, you know, I'm glad it worked out for both.
Oh, Mahomes thing. Ooh, man, I racked him up. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and shout out Jake Wilt. You should have took that. You know, he gave me a good deal, but now I think he might be regretting letting Patrick Mahomes go somewhere else, and that's all right.
I appreciate it.
My Monday Night Football prediction. We've got the Niners making the trip to Minneapolis, taking on the Vikings, a very embattled team, an underachieving team, a team that doesn't look anything like the team that won 13 games last year. They're missing guys. No more Dalvin Cook. He's a New York Jet in a reduced role. Justin Jefferson currently on the injured reserve. But they do have a chance. You know, the defense has been playing better.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, I also have to say that what I find intriguing is that with the Niner injuries, and they're coming off a disappointing loss in Cleveland, this is not one that I view as in the bag. I am predicting, this is my little stat line here, 49ers 27, Vikings 20. One of those Vikings touchdowns are going to be off of a turnover. I got George Kittle, 7 catches for 116 and 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And if the 49ers defense could get me into double digits, I might just come back for the dub against Dorney. What are your thoughts on tonight's game?
I'm close to what you're saying. I'm going 30-20 49ers. I think he'll go to 8 catches, about 110 yards. He'll get a couple of TDs. Because I don't know about Debo. I don't know his stats. I think
Debo's not going to be suiting up, I don't believe. And as Brett very often says on our show, I believe in Kirk. Well, I don't. And Kirk's going to throw about two to three picks tonight.
He'll throw a couple.
But the Niners are not going to run away from this team for the sheer fact that they are indeed going through their own share of injuries. But I'm taking a Shanahan coach team over what Minnesota offers any day of the week.
I'm going with the 10-point spread because they're going to be out without Justin Jefferson, and I just want to and Kirk throwing a couple of picks. No JJ over there.
No, JJ is a big loss, bro.
Yeah, I think 30, and I think they're going to get a big dose of Kittle. For the fact yesterday was National Tight End Day, and they didn't get a chance to play yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. And he's coming off a quiet week.
Yeah, he'll get about 8 for one.
Because after that blow-up game against the Cowboys, he only had one catch for, I think, like 1 yard. And Kittle in fantasy, that is the frustrating part of being an owner of Kittle.
Yeah.
He has a propensity for having those random bad games statistically, but he's a star in this league.
He does a lot of other stuff on the field.
And the crazy thing is, like I said, back to this for a second, National Tight End Day. Waller, Kelsey, Goddard, Andrews, and the other guy, Kittle. Those are the 5 that you want to have at least one of them in fantasy.
That's crazy right there.
We're going to hit you guys with our predictions for tonight's baseball game, or games, I should say. I'm predicting the Philadelphia Phillies to advance to their second consecutive World Series, 6-3 W over the Diamondbacks. I've got the Texas Rangers advancing to their first World Series since 2011. 5-3 victory over the Astros. Idris has got it 5-3 in favor of the Phils, but he's also got the Astros winning a second pennant in a row and a rematch with the Philadelphia Phillies. So 2 games today, a lot on the line, but I must admit that the intensity that is going down in that American League Series is just at a different level. And it's no knock on the Phillies nor the Diamondbacks. I just think a lot of it is predicated off of the fact that you already had a fight in this series. Yep. And I also think it's predicated off of the fact that they're in-state rivals and they're very close to each other. And the hate is real. You know, you got the bullies, the Astros, the guys who have been on the block for a long time. And you got this Rangers team that is definitely possibly a year or 2 ahead of schedule. So, you know, bless you. Bochy has definitely shortened the gap in terms of experience because we all know what Dusty Baker brings, not to mention that the Astros have been battle tested. You know, this is a team that you're always penciling in, just naturally assuming they're going to play in the ALCS. And what they've done is nothing short of incredible. As much as I hate that organization, you've got to give them the credit.
Yeah, and just what you said, battle tested. And I think they're going to go in and say, we've done this before. Let's do it again with Philly. Philly's hype right now. The whole city, football and basketball. I mean, football and baseball. You're going back there. It's going to be hard for Arizona to win 2 of them.
And speaking of baskets, going to make our best efforts. Announcements to come. We're going to be looking possibly later this evening. We'll figure out how we go about it, but NBA preview with the on the eve of the first NBA game. Going to be exciting. Definitely a lot of moving parts. You know, Milwaukee's looking a lot stronger. You know, teaming up Dame Lillard with the great Giannis. You know, can't sleep on the Celtics. They're still a very powerful team. And Miami won the conference last year. So you can never sleep on Coach Spoelstra. You know, Pat Riley was very verbal saying how he didn't get the superstar trade or the acquisition in the offseason, but look for that at the deadline. And our New York Knicks got a trio of dudes that played together in Villanova. Yeah, we got the big ragu. Looking forward to that. Hopefully with that comes better perimeter shooting. And I'm going to say this right now to my Knicks fans. I think Emmanuel quickly takes the next step, certifying himself as one of the absolute best 6 men in this league. And I think Jalen Brunson very well could be the starting point guard for the Eastern Conference this year.
Yeah, I say everything you say, and I also think CP3 in Golden State is going to be something else because he's willing to come off the bench. This is going to take a lot of weight off of Chef. He's not going to have to facilitate that, give him more of a shooting guard. Klay Thompson be able to stretch the floor some more. Draymond Green. They're going to be tough, of course. Denver, I think they'll take a step back because of what they lost, but I think they'll still be up there. The
I'm
Lakers,
curious to see what the Mavs do.
yeah, because they got to do a lot. I'll tell you that because you got Kyrie there, and we'll see with the Lakers.
They kind of surprised me with reinvesting in Kyrie. There is literally no reason to debate the talent that Kyrie Irving is. When his head is locked into the game,
Yeah.
not too many guys in the league better. And I do want to see him and Luka pick it up a notch. You were mentioning the Lakers. It's exciting in the sense that you have some young, talented guys like Austin Reeves, Achimura, and I'm curious to see if AD could stay healthy and if King James also can stay healthy and help navigate this team to go further because, last year, even though they got swept out, I would have to say that given the kind of season they had, Western Conference Finals appearance is far from something to feel ashamed of.
Yeah. Father Time is undefeated, and when he hits you hard. Look how he did Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, it was great the year before, the year after.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, everybody, when he hits you, and LeBron showed some slowing down last year. He had some injuries.
No, absolutely. And I still think it's remarkable that, he had X amount of games,
Yeah.
Playing a full game. But at the same time, the back-to-backs are no joke.
Mm-hmm.
And he definitely, had to be nursed to the finish line at different junctures of last season. A team to look out for that I do think could actually make a bottom tier playoff push and show improvement is the Orlando Magic. I think I've seen them very closely because I usually go to at least one Knicks Magic game, pretty much right on top of the court.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what Orlando's building. They are often overlooked, but I do think they're heading in the right direction. And this is a big, big year for Trae Young to reclaim his career because after his upstart arrival in that series against the New York Knicks, he has fell off considerably. And this is a year that he has to do it. Your good buddy, Kevin Durant, he's going to have to, he's playing for his legacy. There's so many great storylines going into this NBA season. And I must admit, I'm looking forward to it. Don't sleep on the Clippers. They got a nice little squad there.
Sacramento
lost a heartbreaker last year to the Golden State Warriors. They're definitely going to be back. And I'm looking forward to seeing the kid in San Antonio, Wembanyama.
Yeah.
I said this to a couple of folks. I said, if David Robinson and Tim Duncan made a basketball baby, that's what it would look like.
Exactly.
That kid is the truth. And the San Antonio Spurs always have the good fortune of finding the next great big man.
We got to see how it happens when it's live basketball. I mean, because they're playing now, but they're not going hard.
No. This is more about getting their feet wet.
Yeah, let's see what he does against Giannis when he has to bang that body against Giannis or bang that body against Joker. One of these guys that'll lean on you and just get you all sweaty up and just make you feel like, damn, man, he keeps laying on me. Let's see how he does.
Another thing, too, that I'm interested in seeing is how Joel Embiid responds from coming up very small in last year's playoffs when it mattered most, and his teammate James Harden seeing what the future holds there, because there have been some reputable NBA sources that are very clear about saying that Embiid wants to be a New York Knick.
I'll take him.
Damn right I'd take him. Julius Randle, speaking of the Knicks, this is a guy that he has to get back into the team concept of playing ball. And I also want to shout out Derrick Rose.
Send him to Philly and we'll just take Embiid.
Yeah, I want to shout out Derrick Rose, coming back for yet another season in so many aspects, an ageless wonder. And I think that he's going to get a lot more playing time in his situation now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also curious to see if John Morant could keep his nose clean. I don't want to see young people throwing their lives away, but he needs to grow up. And I know you're going to see Uncle Shannon at quite a few LeBron James games. He and Stephen A. definitely entertained me recently with their argument about the GOAT. And
oh, yeah.
We had a great show when we presented that with Brett. And Yeah, guys, get used to it because we're going to be doing more shows in that nature. And we haven't forgot with the 50th anniversary of hip hop. We still have that on the back burner. We're going to be getting that out to you as well.
I think with Philly, James Harden still not showing up for practices and stuff like that. I still see how that team looks. He said he's going to play, but
how many more bridges can you burn?
Yeah,
you got to really try to make Ben Simmons look like a great teammate, and he's doing
on his way, man. He's doing a good job of it because you cried your way out of Houston, you cried your way out of Jersey, now you're crying your way out of Philly because you don't get your way through. You haven't won anything.
Nah, bro. And in this offensive happy era in basketball, when he talks about his greatness and his legacy, I'm like, buddy, you need to start winning some damn playoff games.
Or at least show up.
Because even a guy like Tracy McGrady, who didn't have playoff success, the one thing I give him credit for is that he didn't try to convince you how good he was. He left that up to the fans, and we anointed him as that kind of scorer.
But he showed up, even in defeat. James Harden has yet to show up when it counted. You got to show up.
And I'm excited about seeing the guys, Kenny, Chuck, Ernie. Shouts out to the guys at TNT. They do just such a great job of bringing you in, just really reeling you in. Absolutely. No question about that. And there's a lot of guys I respect that cover sports, but nobody has that chemistry and has that green light to push the envelope like the dudes on TNT. So, shout out to that network. Shout out.
Ernie's the ringleader, though.
Ernie is no doubt the ringleader, and he knows how to home those guys in. Chuck, Kenny, Charles, just a phenomenal team. And I look forward to just seeing how all of these stories pan out. Magic Johnson has his own spin of a doc coming out because he wasn't too pleased with the portrayal of the HBO Max series. So definitely looking forward to getting on that. And Idris, as always, bro, very good show today, man. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. Monday morning quarterback. That's how we do.
Monday morning quarterback, and I like the way this feels. Big Blue Monday, big win. MetLife Bowl coming up. Look for us in the middle of the week. We'll give you announcements regarding our Week 8 picks, and we are going to be working on that NBA preview show, more than likely to come at you at some point today. Announcements to come on that. If you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Also make it a point to check out my guys' show, The Mixed Experience, as well as the Casual Convo Show, where you can see some more of Idris's mug, as well as the beautiful Miss Coco.
See how I get the mug, y'all?
Hey, bro, if I start calling you beautiful, they're going to start questioning what we're about.
You're right about I'll take the mug, man.
Until next time, he's Idris, and I'm Richie, and we greatly appreciate you taking a little time out of your Monday to hang with us, and I wish all of you a very prosperous and peaceful week. We out for now.